Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of PCP No Boosters Needed, where we talk about the progenitor circuit. Today, we'll be talking about October 2024. I am Juhadre. Joining me, as usual, are Xeno and the Snurks and VG Shazbot. Hey, guys.
Hey, I thought this was my first time here.
Stop it.
Hi.
So, guys, before we get into talking about October, I think we need to bring up the fact that our next tournament, November, will be a 2-year anniversary for PLC. So, woohoo!
Go us!
I'm remembering back to the very first one. We had our 8 teams. We were all super excited. We had the big show. It started in the morning. It was a 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Remember that?
Yeah. Shazbot was a player.
I think I was working night times at that point, so I was dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So very different from what we're setting up for a couple weeks from now. That'll be November 15th. 15th?
I don't know.
I don't know. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, November 15th. This will come out probably in the morning anyway. So happy 2-year anniversary progenitor circuit. We're very pleased with that. Alrighty, guys. So going back to October, then we have our first semifinals match. That was Filmy versus Team Unknown. And that was, I was watching it, and Billy and I talked about how it's, I think, the first time on stream we got the 2 winningest teams against each other than when we had the era of the Fall Guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a lot of excitement when these 2 took to the Rift.
Yeah, and I'm chomping at the bit to talk about some of the earlier games, even leading up to the finals, because Game 4 is now my go-to game that I show like people who are like, why would I watch this tournament? I'm like, let me tell you why we watch this tournament.
So is it because we've worked up to the wins and the pressure to get into playoffs, or is it because you're always casting that one?
No, because that game in particular was incredible. It was like so close, so a nail biter. It didn't feel like anyone, even going into it, Billy and I were talking about like who was favored to win or whatnot. And again, not to derail the talk about the finals, but like it's been, so much amount of time, and I'm still thinking about how exciting that game was. And it was so much fun. And I can't say this enough. Like, if you are looking for another game to go back to, or you want to show your friends something, let me recommend that game, because Game 4 of October was incredible.
October Swiss round 4. If I remember right, September round 4 was also a banger.
I want to say you're right. Yeah. It was either a 3 or 4 in September that was a killer one. It was something about like people are finally warmed up enough, but also need to get into the finals that pulls out great games. Like, our finals are always good, but like our Swiss rounds have become like some spicy meatballs, man.
Maybe Jin's onto something about 4 being art.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Oh, we have enough teams for 4 round, therefore.
Yeah, exactly.
Therefore.
Yeah, there are 4.
So we have teams for 4 rounds. Therefore, final 4. That's only 3.
And for the rest of you still with us, we appreciate you.
That's a good thing to bring up, because I think that in preparing for PCP, I do often overlook the Swiss bracket, just because the semifinals and the finals are what we typically talk about. But going back and watching all of the games, I did that when we were recording for September. I want to say I watched all of August, or when we were recording October, I watched all of September. I can't remember, but it is fun. And seeing and reliving the moments, the excitement it's a good time, because every game has something exciting in it, no matter how separated the teams are in terms of skill and such.
100%.
Yeah, I almost want to go back and do comparisons and like get an idea of like where the turning points or where the big moments in the games are that very much determine the outcome. Because I feel like every game of League's like that. You have that moment that, like the game was decided in essence. Like, yeah, there's always a chance to turn it around, but you get what I mean.
100%. And you remind me a little bit. I have somewhat of a project going on in the background that I haven't touched in a week, but I need to go back and begin again. But like the amount of data that we've built up in the last 2 years, be that on a specific player, be that on a specific champion, or be that on like how the meta itself has ebbed and flowed through PLC, has been incredible. And I think that the people that have either just joined us now and are brand new names, which were, you hear us in the tournament, we're excited to see all the funny names that you guys come up with, but also some of the old guard. You know, we love our team unknowns and the journeys that we've seen them go through. Because the last couple of tournaments, like none of Team Unknown is playing their usual role, and it messes me up. So I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure Kiroro is like, was a support? No, an ADC. He's not bot lane anymore. Oh, it's good stuff. But I'm really excited. I think I've already seen some of the roster of the people who've signed up for this coming tournament, our November tournament, and I'm excited. It's a good strong roster so far.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of the day, you know, it's the players that make the tournament enjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so just seeing those favorites come in, and I think that's a reason why Team Unknown has stuck around for so long and become such a fan favorite, is they're not afraid to shake things up, and you can tell that on top of trying to do their best, they're also there to have fun.
100%. And I feel a little bit guilty because we went on this whole tangent because we were talking about the finals. I'll segue back to Ben.
So semifinal, actually. And one of the things you were bringing up is Team Unknown don't give up. Like, they'll keep playing until the Nexus explodes, which seems like a silly thing to say because, of course, you do. That's how games end. But it's more than that. It's them looking for plays. It's them starting fights. It's them contesting objectives. And that's regardless of what deficit they're in. In fact, when I was rewatching it, I saw they were 7K behind and wound up nearly acing Filmy twice. Like, it was bananas. They had no business starting that fight nor winning it, and they still did it. And that's a Team Unknown classic.
Yeah. Starting fights and not having... That sounds familiar. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, items are the core aspect of League. It really determines whether or not you have the biggest advantage in fights, but that doesn't always mean you're going to win the fights if you get outplayed.
Right. So speaking about playing, that was the note I wrote down for Filmy, is they had some crazy little mechanical things while they were in this game. The first one that comes to mind is Derry got stuffed on the rocket jump on Tristana by the Poppy W.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, he immediately threw the bomb on Poppy, popped it, and got to jump again.
Genius.
Like, if you really think about it, who remembers that exploding the explosive shot gives you another rocket jump?
Yeah. It's so funny that like W is just enough of a clunky move that you don't see all the cool like mechanics that you can use off of it. It's not like as fluid as something like Kha'Zix's jump, even though it has a lot of similar behaviors like Kha'Zix with wings and all that stuff. But you know, Poppy is one that, man, it's so funny because like my Worlds brain and my PLC brain are crossing, and I'm forgetting which plays are coming from Worlds and which plays are coming from PLC, and you know, still have the adrenaline off both of them. But yeah, that was a fun play with Tristana.
In the bot lane as well, Braum's Unbreakable stops all projectiles. It doesn't stop all damage. Braum does absorb it, but it stops all projectiles from crossing. And so the first blood fight, Derry got to like 80 health or something, and Jinx launched 5 auto attacks, but every single one was stopped by the positioning of Upset Life. He just stood and followed so that no matter what, Valentine was clicking on Derry. Like, it's not something you can miss, but he stopped it and they secured first blood instead. It's things like that you don't think about until you actually see it happen.
Yeah, and I'm you know, a little infatuated by all of our supports in our PLC that like I feel like they steal the show, like more than, you know, like I appreciate them in esports as well. I think they're good players, but like in PLC in particular, it feels like a lot of our games are decided by the plays that the supports are initiating. Be that the Braum initiate, or be that the cool rooms. I love that we live in an era that supports don't just buy the active items anymore and the wards, that we live in these playmaking. Like if someone picks Tarek, it's a statement.
Yeah.
If someone is picking Braum or whatever, like there's a whole hierarchy, but I love our support players, man. You go supports.
Which is sorry, I'll get it real quick. It's fun you say that because Death, instead of being in the mid lane for Team Unknown, was on the Poppy in support and was the reason why those 2-3 fights at 6-7K behind even happened and worked.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right.
Well, that's something people tend to overlook is a lot of times, the stereotype of supports is just, so yeah, you're the healer in the background, or you apply CC, or you tank. But, like, in games in general, a lot of the time, support players become the playmakers and kind of the ones leading the charge. Like, I have a friend, for example, he was really, really good with the macro game of Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, and because of that, what he actually did was, instead of focusing DPS like he used to, he eventually swapped over to tank, tried that for a while, but then found his niche in support, where because he was so good at macro and keeping track of opponents and everything, he would just play support, go on mic, and then just call plays and direct the team. And people were willing to listen to him since he was playing support, and that's what helped him climb in Overwatch when he used to play.
So I think that's a really good thing to bring up is learn to trust your teammates.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's how these guys ended up winning. Filmy does take the semifinals against Team Unknown. Very hard fought battle. Terrific game. Go back and watch that one for sure after you watch Game 4 of Swiss.
Yeah. Man, I'm thinking about supports now, man, and I could probably talk about it for too long, but I love that we live in an era that it's unclear where supports are going to go nowadays. But anyways, yes, please go watch those finals.
All right. And before we move on to the actual finals, everybody, we want to remind that we are sponsored by Freshen Up. Use our affiliate link to get yourself some discounts there. I'm going to pop mine open and take a swig.
Yep, avoid the usual chalkiness and chalky flavors of other ones. Enjoy you some Freshen Up.
That's good audio, man.
Padre ASMR coming to a channel near you. We're between Filmy and the Mithril Knights. It was a lot of fun to see Mithril Knights come back into the tournament. In September, they didn't make it to finals, but they did this time, and it was so exciting. I wrote down here at 39 minutes of video time. That's 19 minutes in game. Everything was almost locked in. They each had 2 objectives. They each had the other feat. Both teams had the same amount of kills. It was like 1,800 gold maximum, the difference. I think it was actually closer to 800.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The kills were the same. The turrets taken were the same. It was so even. And that's not usually what we see from Filmy when they play in the finals. They're normally very much ahead of the game and really steamrolling, but the Mithril Knights were like, no, thank you.
Yeah, and it was edge of your seat kind of a game too, because like it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But yeah.
So the 2 matchups that made it that way, in the top lane, Rap, oh no. He played Akali, and we can never forget it because of the way that he performed and, the trash talk he put into the chat afterward. So much fun. But that matchup against the Cho'Gath went definitely his way. And then the Mithril Knights, Layson really laid into Geo. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but, Geo is typically the big carry for Filmy, but he got... I'm sorry, Geo, but you admitted it, I bet. You got smashed in the lane. Like, it was pretty intense. And it was really uncharacteristic because that every kill that Filmy got on the top side was answered mid by Mithril Knights, and that's what kept it so even.
It's Rapcore on the
Rapcore. Okay, so thank you. I knew it started with an RA. Yeah.
Kind of a cool name. We need to ask our teams where their names come from, because sometimes they're just funny, but other times I'm like, why Mithril?
That's a fun idea.
Yeah. like, in order to play at our tournament, you need to tell us where your name came from. And you say funny. And I'm like, okay, that's like legit. That's okay. But yeah. Just a masterful game because like it doesn't matter like where you scrub into this game, like it's locked in the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, those make fun games.
One of the big things that I've noticed with Filmy, and especially in this game, is their drafts always have some kind of synergy to them. They will hold spells or ultimates until they choose to fight. They'll never use them to disengage, which looks silly because they'll lose the fight. But then because they didn't use anything, suddenly 4 of them are there and everything is up. And they smash the next fight that was a surprise and then take the objective. And it's constant. When we go back and watch Filmy games, pay attention to that. Every time they lose a fight, quote unquote, within a minute, they are back in the same spot doing something better and taking something else for it. And it's exceptionally surprising.
I never noticed that. I definitely got to look out for that next time.
Also, they're never out of position because of that. Like, there was the Rome. There was a fight happening by the Krugs, and Geo was just like sauntering his way down there. No one noticed, and suddenly the blast cone is gone, and he's in the fight and gets 3 kills. And it's just like, where did you come from? Did no one ping that you weren't like? How do you do that? And I remember from another game or another tournament, I can't remember which, but like suddenly Thresh was in the top lane. It's like, why are you here, Upset Life? Yeah. Like, you have no business being here. Right. It was like 4 minutes and 2 seconds, so right after the lane swap mechanic goes away, and he's just like, here I am. And why are you there? But they're always there.
And that's what I'm talking about with the support stuff is like, with Neeko, you expect it. Like,
right.
Neeko, you're like, well, unfortunately, now I have 8 minions in my lane. Right? But I think that no matter what Riot tries, I think supports are learning more and more their timings to get to Krugs, to get to top lane, to get to all that. And it takes, our Threshes, our Neekos to really upset things. I like that top lane is usually an island, and I would love for people to not be sure of it. And to have to be questioning it a little bit, and then to pay more attention or whatnot. As a top laner who locks in too much and has tunnel vision out the wazoo, I think it's really cool. And I think that we are seeing that in PLC, let alone Worlds. So
I think unpredictability is a great way to really mess with your opponents and to get unexpected catches on them. Because if you're not where they're expecting, that can really throw them off. There was one time my brother was playing a jungle, and he was playing with his friend who was a top lane main. So he decided that they were going to mess with the enemy top Vayne a bit, where what he did was, technically, this was not the right play to make at all. But what he did was he went and he ganked, killed Vayne, and then he positioned himself running into a bush, so it was very clear, he's going into the bush to back. But instead, he just waited for the Vayne to return to lane, killed her again, and then she was so tilted that she did bad the rest of the game. Like,
yeah, and you should know how to respond to that if you're in a competitive environment like that. It's like this kind of cheese is only cheese because people don't know how to, or effective cheese because people don't know how to work against that. So
exactly.
Yeah. Good finals, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting distracted today.
I want to continue on this tangent a little bit because we were talking about Neeko in particular, right? You coming in 8 minions in the lane, oops, surprise. And then the play that Xeno was talking about. There are some mechanics they were using at Worlds that people just don't understand. The one that's been exposed for a long time is if you emote with your clone, it can last up to 8 seconds.
Oh,
and it gives you vision. That's crazy. But then one that really messed up a game, if you turn into a cannon minion, you adopt that cannon minion's resistances to turret.
Yep.
You can take 6 turret shots and survive as a level 1 Neeko.
Not okay. Yeah,
unacceptable. But hear me out, guys. There are 2 mechanics in another MOBA called Dota. Number 1 is called Denial.
Yep.
You can attack your own units. And if you do that, it reduces the experience that your opponent gets. The other one is you can stand in front of the wave and it collides with you and
Right.
confuses for a second, and it slows down the wave.
Right.
So you can interrupt. I forgot the name of that mechanic. I used to know it, but you can slow down your wave so that it isn't at 30 seconds,
Mhm.
right? What if you level 1 Nico, deny your back caster minion while your bot laner is blocking the wave, and you show up with only 6 minions in the wave?
And Nivea wall, my backcaster.
Yeah.
I really don't like that.
Yes. Yes. I'm just trying to think of how much more OP could we make Nico, and how glad I am that those particular mechanics don't really work in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, fun fact, in the alpha of the league, they accidentally had a bug where Gangplank had a denial mechanic, but they ended up removing it.
Thank goodness for that.
It's funny that we live in an era. Nico as a champion is someone who seems more interesting than she actually is for me. Although it was really funny to see her dancing in Worlds all the time.
Yeah.
Really, really funny. Because it sometimes wasn't her. It was like sometimes another champion.
Yeah.
Which was always funny to see. But it's really interesting to see people break down like why mid lane assassins who are usually pretty weak until they hit a power spike can now jungle, and they don't need to worry about their weakness in the early part of the game. I'm wondering if we're going to see more revolutions in the jungle. We're seeing it in jungle in the support lane,
Mhm.
because if we have someone like Twitch is a bad example, but someone with like a stealth
Mhm.
that has like similar effects to Nico. Nico can be on the mini map and not be shown. But if we have someone simpler like Evelyn or someone who has that stealth ability and disappears from the map, then you have more of the question marks. Those of us who are in like season 1 know how crazy TF was. As soon as he hit 6,
Mhm.
in chat you're spamming he's 6, please don't die, and then people would be like, how did TF get in my lane? And I'm feeling like we're at the start of like a renaissance,
Mhm.
of kind of roles again, and I'm kind of excited for that. So
Fun fact, TF's ult used to be his E.
yeah,
That's right.
and global.
And
That's
global, yep.
I'm glad that the power curve got a little more controlled at that point. After that tangent, welcome back to the finals, everybody.
Sorry, I can't help it. I'm a tangent person.
No. I think it's okay because it's not like totally random. Like, hey, did you read this book? That's
Yeah.
not related. It's
Okay, but
all
did you?
it's all related in some way,
Fair.
right? The conversation comes from something we were talking about.
Yeah.
But coming back to it, one of the other the turning point of this game, like Shazbot said, almost no matter where you go, it's at 40 minutes and 48 seconds of video time
Yeah.
when Mithril Knights catch Rapcore by Otacon. But Otacon is alive here, 21 minutes. I don't think either team really wants to go for it, but they're trying to make sure that no one can do it without being spotted. Rapcore is going to get hit with the Scatter of the Weak and the Encore, and that just might be the trigger to go for the Otacon.
It might be, but they're still in a 4v4 right here as
Sparks the God takes huge amounts of damage from Derry. Eternal tries to get the knockup instead. It's the death sentence. Sparks the God will go down. Thresh is in the middle of 3. Layson trying to do what he can. ABS forever flashes away, but does go down. He is very squishy. Aderbug trying to get some damage, pulling the feathers through everybody. Does not get the root. Derry jumping over the wall, going to get the kill on the Aderbug as well, which means the quadra kill for Derry on the Tristana, and the Otacon that was ready for Mithril Knights will go the way of Filmy. They catch him, they blow him up, and they start Otacon, and it's a 4v4 because their bot laner, Aderbug was farming mid lane. So it was 4v4 at the Otacon, but because they started it, they got low, lost their resistances, and it was the Cho'Gath. Their one tank was low, and they lost the fight.
I remember that.
And Aderbug shows up late. Derry gets a quadra kill on that, and they take the Otacon. Even though it looked like they had the good play, if you don't wait for Aderbug, you lose that fight. If you wait for Aderbug, you win that fight.
Yeah. And I think we were we were starting to see the beginning of the end a little bit before then. Like the gold lead was starting to widen a little bit
Mhm.
towards the end of the game. But what a fun finish, you know, to have a quadra kill in the last 5 minutes of the game. Super super fun. And man, the temptation is real. The tangent bug is coming in because I want to talk about Otacon now. So great game though.
And that wasn't actually the ending either. So
Mhm.
that was at 40 minutes
Right,
and 48 seconds. At 46:11, again, this is video time so that you can scroll that and not need to zoom in on the game timer.
Right.
The Filmy starts the Baron,
Mm-hmm.
and Jackson on the Lee Sin runs into the Akali in the jungle by the red buff, shows up on the other side of the pit at like 300 health, jumps into the pit, and gets the steal at 46:31.
Yeah.
It literally saved the game for the next 10 minutes. It was bananas. There's no way he should have got that steal.
Totally.
That
Double buffs on everybody. It's Baron time, I think.
and 4.7 ahead on Akali, 4.1 on Tristana. That's an item and a half on each of them.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Sparks the God doesn't have flash, doesn't have the blast cone. He just wants to get some vision down, but the control word will stop it. He has no way to get over. Jackson might, though. He jumps over the wall. Is he close enough? He stole the Baron! Jackson just saved Mithril Knights!
Oh man.
Well,
It's such a fun game. Like,
It was amazing.
yeah.
He didn't get the execute because he had the Sonic Wave, and you get the resonating strike, execute with the smite. You can combo that.
Help, right?
He just outsmoked the other guy. It
That'll
was
happen.
crazy.
Right.
So, anyway, amazing move. That's at 46:31. But to end the game, Filmy did win. Amazing, just fight back and forth. Congratulations to Filmy.
Mhm.
Well played to Mithril Knights and Team Unknown, who were in our top 4. And that was October, and it was a blast. We got to talk to Gio for the 4th time in a row. That was a good time.
That guy's basically a caster at this point. He's playing the game.
That's really funny. Oh man. Anything else you guys want to talk about October before we move on to our next topic?
Oh, not off the top of my head, no.
All right.
Good.
Well then again, congratulations to Filmy. We look forward to seeing everybody back in November, and that will be at noon Pacific time now. I have to remember the times. But before we close out, I want to talk about Worlds a little bit because it is over now. The world champion has been crowned. So before we spoil anything, that's the only thing we're going to talk about after this, everybody. So if you want to cut it out.
Let me do my real quick plug first. I
Let's.
just want people to be thinking about, because Worlds is done, this is usually the time where Riot likes to experiment the most. Stay up to date with your runes. They made a lot of changes in the most recent patches. I expect more changes in the future. So I just wanted to plug in real quick there. Check your runes, check the patch notes. Let's talk Worlds.
Sorry. I
Go for
do
it.
want to throw out one thing about rune change real quick. Cashback is being buffed from 6% to 8%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for a full build, that's an extra 300 gold of value, so keep that in mind.
I love that rune, by the way.
Yeah.
We can dive into a lot of stuff with this, but let me tell you that we could dedicate an entire podcast on the rune changes
Yeah.
of this last patch, and they might not stick around. So
Mhm.
All right.
I just wanted to throw that out real quick.
It's a good one. So now moving into Worlds spoilers, we'll give about 3 seconds for people to calm it down.
This is the waiting music. If you do not wish to have Worlds spoiled for you, please skip to the timestamp listed above. Otherwise, enjoy the spoilers.
All right, everybody. So the World Championship finished up last Sunday, and it was between T1 and KT Rolster. They call it the Telecom Wars. They're 2 internet providers in Korea that sponsor these teams. They have a long-standing rivalry all the way back to the Ryu play, if people are familiar with that. The ZVZ.
Yep.
I did not realize.
Yeah, that was a
that
KT
far.
versus T1.
Yep.
Dang.
The meme with the look at the moves, look at the plays, Faker.
No
Yep.
wonder they kept showing that clip. Okay.
Yeah. So it's long time. And T1 has always come out ahead when it comes to things that matter, right? KT never made it to Worlds. They never made it to finals. They never won the LCK. And in this tournament, they beat Gen G, who was the tournament favorite. They won LCK. They won First Stand. They won MSI. They won LCK again and a third time. They literally haven't lost a thing. They have all the titles. They were ready to get that golden road that's never been done. And then KT beat them in the semifinals. It was amazing. And they went up against T1, who was the last seed of LCK, who had to play in the play-ins to even be in the tournament,
right?
As the finals.
We were talking in the watch party for Worlds where it's like T1 has this like the Worlds energy that they're like getting up to Worlds. They don't seem all that good, but once they're in Worlds, they like flick a switch and then they're back into it because they were incredible.
Yeah,
they were so fun to watch. Even in game one, like they took such a bad losing situation and it was like in one fight they went from like they might not win this to like, oh, they're winning handily.
Yeah, it was they were 6,000 gold behind when the play happened, and they won that game.
Yeah,
it was one play, just like Shazbot said. It was one play, and suddenly everything was as if they were winning the whole time. It was crazy.
We were joking how much it felt like PLC with all the fighting and the early kills and the goal deficit, and then all of a sudden they come from behind. It was super fun.
So, drum roll. T1 came out victorious in a 3-2 slog that lasted until 4 in the morning for me.
Jeez.
Yeah, started at 11, ended at I got to bed at 4:10 a.m. and I didn't even watch them pick up the trophy. I said, "Game's over. All right, bye guys," because I was really sleepy.
How many like? Because I tapped out, and watched, saw the rest of it later. But
it was admin and me.
Okay,
we were the only two that made it. Twerp dropped out, I think, sometime in game 4, at the beginning of game 4 or the end of game 3. I can't remember.
Sure.
And a few others only made it. Bleen almost literally fell asleep during game 1.
That's so funny. I remember that.
He's like, "Sorry guys, I'm out," and just hung up. It was a good sign. But yeah, that's what it was. All right, listen guys, that's the 3rd in a row for T1. 4 out of those 5 players won those other 2. It's the first time that Doran, their top laner, won.
Who's incredible.
Yeah. And what this does is it makes T1 Faker the same as SKT Faker in terms of their stats.
Wow.
Like there are memes all over the internet saying someone finally rivals SKT Faker, and it's T1 Faker. And they're like, it's got 83 wins to 86 wins. This meant 3 world titles to 3 world titles, 8 or 6 finals appearances to 6 finals appearances. It's almost identical, and it's super funny.
He's living a double life, a half life.
I don't know if you can even argue. He is a faker after all.
This guy.
What'd be really funny is if he moved on to another team and then just keeps doing it.
I think I agree that would be funny, but what would be even funnier is if T1 renamed themselves again and then did it.
And then the same players.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. Well, I'm excited because like the problem with this Worlds was it happened in the dead of night, and this coming Worlds is going to be back in the States.
It's in NA.
So
we already started making plans, didn't we?
Home ground turf. You can win this.
I would agree with you, but I was just listening to the dive, and NA exploded. Like the top 3 teams aren't teams anymore. FlyQuest has 1 of their 5 that's still there. 3 of them went to other teams and other regions, in fact. 100 Thieves isn't a team anymore. The organization doesn't exist. So the chances of all 5 of those players being picked up on the same roster, very low. And then they're changing it back to the North American LCS, meaning that CB LOL is separate. So, Vivo Keystars also isn't going to be involved anymore. Cloud9 exploded.
Yeah.
Team Liquid exploded. We don't have a good team anymore.
And we're going back to playing as just North America.
Now, to be fair, we're switching up the formats. We're doing best ofs, and it's going to be more games, more time. It's going to be structured a lot more like what the LPL does. So that's good news. But at the same time, like I don't understand. Or that's the wrong word. I don't know where we're going to get our home turf pride when we get back there.
Because I happen to remember that a brand new region that hadn't played in any worlds up to this point was introduced, and like people were kind of speculative if they'd be any good, and then they spawned a guy named Faker in season 3.
Yeah.
So maybe this is our Faker moment.
And Taipei Assassins in season 2 did the same thing.
It's true, so true. And honestly, like, kind of joke. It's still kind of a joke, but I really hope that like this is a good moment for people who are trying to make a name for themselves can kind of break through the bureaucracy and jump in. Because this is the perfect moment where there's been so much upset that new players are looking for new talent, and that's always kind of been the vision of PLC in the first place, is to try to get people ready for the next thing. So yeah, I'm hoping that I'm excited. I win either way because I get to watch Worlds and have a good time. But I also hope that like this is a reawakening of NA. That'd be really fun.
Y'all ready for Worlds Filmy versus T1?
Let's make it happen, boys. All right. Well, then, is there anything else we need to talk about before we wrap up?
Not need to be talked about, no. But yep, I think that does.
What more tangents can I cook up?
We'll have a new champion to talk about next time.
All right, everybody. Then that'll do it for this episode of PCP. No boosters needed. Remember that Freshen Up has their link. You can check that out. On our website, progenitorscircuit.com. We will be on YouTube and sign up on Battlefy. All of those links are on our website, progenitorscircuit.com. Don't forget, today, November 15th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. No, noon Pacific time will be the November tournament. We've also announced and signups are open for December. That will be December 20th at noon Pacific time. Go ahead and sign up for that. And check us out on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky. I think we have a TikTok. And we'll see you later.
Yep, thanks again for joining, and 1,000 likes for Juhadre ASMR?
You got it. 1,000 likes on this video. I will do an ASMR. Here we go.
That's gonna come up. That's gonna come up in like 10 years, and you're gonna be like, oh no.